The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
In understanding something which we never understood, but we emphasize again and again on it for you to understand. In a dimension of the physicality of the man, we know in a dimension of physicality of the man has no physical dimension if there is not an environmental field, which means we have no dimension, if there was no magnetical gravitational field of the earth around us. If we move to another dimension, if we move to another position, and the environment changes, we'll find out that us as man will not exist. This is a very nice trick. But what will be interesting for most of us is if we change the field, the environmental field, do we become invisible? In the field dimension of the man, on earth, we have a physicality. When we change the fields, we disappear. What kind of new creatures would be us manifesting ourselves at? Is the possibility of a line of life changes? Or do we still have that possibility, that what I call having the soul inside it? Having the soul that can bring the dimension of physicality to the soul of physicality in a new condition of life. In a way, if we change, if we bring a new condition, a new environment, how would we look? Would we trust to be able to go back to our original colors and conditions and life as a man? Would we think as a man in a dimension, or would we think as a new creature, new understanding, according to the environment we manifest ourselves? The truth about all this is that have we understood that we have a nuclear bomb with massive radiation capabilities, that is a cosmic rays, sits within the center of the body of the man. We call it the soul of the man. It is more energetic, it's more powerful in strength than the whole of the physicality put together. Body of the man is made of billions and billions of cells, and each cell itself has an energy to maintain its position and the condition of life. So the body of the man physically is a energy packs times billions, trillions. And that energy in the dynamic motion transfer of the fields to what we call its blood creates a cage to hold this in. One energy pack encaging another. But there is an interconnection between these two that allows one to be embedded inside the other. In a way, if you look at it in a bigger scale, you have your physical dimension outside from the interaction of these two. It's very much like gravity and magnetical field. In the interaction, we create the mass. Physicality. There is no difference if you call the soul of physicality magnetical field and the soul of the man the gravitational field, with the capability that one can change position with the other. Through an interconnection, through an interline power level, what we call common denominator, they can switch from one to another. Then this switch will decide in interaction with the environment how you manifest yourself at a point and a place. You switch the fields to the dimension of physicality, what do we have? We are going to have an amazing condition where what we call the dimension of the interaction, dimension of the position and the position of the fields can create the different dimension of physicality of the man in the same environment. What it means, you can change slightly the emotion, the dimension, and the direction. And then in that process, you can turn from being a white man to a black man. Because the environment of the earth has not changed. It's the field emotion of the place you live with allows you to do the transmutation. You look like Chinese, you speak Chinese, you understand the emotion of the Chinese language. Because now you kept within the gravitational magnetic field of the planet Earth. It's the inertia. and a position in respect to the center and a condition of the fields of the inertia created, which gives you that environment. Don't forget, when you enter a new environment, let's say from England you go to China, the soul of the Chinese dictates part of that inertia. The soul of emotion of the nation, culture, language, dictates that part of inertia. That's why you manifest yourself if you decide as a Chinese and understand the whole lot. Then the language and the dictionaries are not needed, because now you don't need to press this and it gives you the meaning but not the emotion of. Now when you speak, you understand, your soul has the emotion of the feeling of the word too. Now you decide to change the gravitational field of the earth to the moon. Now you manifest yourself in that position in the moon as a man of the moon. Is there a life on the moon? Is the collective life an interaction of your soul with it teaches you how to communicate, how to exist? Or you create a new dimension that the interaction of the emotion of the soul of the man and soul of his Gatian man translates that to the existence on that planet. You learn the language, you learn the feature, not out of transmutation, but by the collection of the interaction of the fields of the environment, of the soul of the people, entities who live in that environment. They transfer the energy, they transfer the knowledge to you as much as you transfer to them. It's not only the transmutation by the physical dimension, is interaction of the soul of the man in transmutation that interacts with the soul of the citizens of that environment that allows you to be part of, to be understood, and to live like them.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 511th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, November 9th, 2023. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, Education Department, and part of the public teachings in English. And my name is Rick Crammond. I'll be host once again in this weekly series of workshops. And we have a special workshop today. And Mr. Keshe is in London, England, and working with people there. And we'll be broadcasting from that position, although we're having some difficulty with the YouTube channel right now. We hope to resolve that shortly. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to begin today?
Yes, good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. We welcome you back. We are a bit in different position and the way we are used to do things, but it's a very unusual way to do teaching. As we mentioned last time, with the permission of the London University and directors and the principal of the Keshe of Queen Mary College, an unusual procedure has been set that we can teach from the classrooms of the university. Usually, teachings are done or conferences are kept within the what we call conference halls. But in past 3 days, we were moving from one classroom to another, being banished from one, not one being big enough. So we've been through everything as students going to university. It's nice to be back in this environment. Yesterday, I had the pleasure to sit in the environment where I studied for years ago as a nuclear physicist. And the building is demolished, but still the essence of the knowledge is there. Today, we are with a few members of the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers, and we endeavor to learn a little bit more, share a little bit more. We go it the unusual way, or the usual way we do every now and then. And we would like to put forward to you, if you have any questions about all these things we've been teaching, before we start. And then the second session, we might let you ask questions. If there are any questions about what we have been teaching about the soul of the man, the energy transfer, or anything else, that this wakes you up. You usually used to sleeping the first session and waking up the second session. Now you have to wake up in the first session. Are there any questions? Or did I catch you what we call red-handed? Anybody awake?
Oh, we have a hand up here. So from Ali Riza. Would you like to go ahead?
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Good day to you, Rick. I want to know that how can we manifest the energy of the soul to the physicality? This is a difficult thing to do for me, and I feel the energy, but I can't manifest it to the physicality.
Can you explain what you mean?
The inner energy that is in inner core.
How far have you gone? What do you think you've done?
I can imagine something that I consume that my third eye hasn't been opened yet, but it can be felt that there is something.
How and what do you call felt something?
There's an energy and there's a heat, but it cannot be opened yet and manifested into the physicality.
What do you mean by there is an energy? How do you feel the energy? Inside you or outside you?
Inside. There's inside energy that I can change it and feel better. If I get sick and I feel it, I feel that I'm getting sick now, but I can change the inner energy path and I can get away from it.
The whole purpose of the teaching, the purpose of understanding, is to expand this energy beyond you than holding inside you. It's already been inside from the point of the birth, from the time of inception. Is how we can expand it, that in its expansion, we connect it to what we call universal magnetic fields, get it somewhere, and then put it back in the cage again and take the dimension of physicality. You have to learn how to allow this energy to expand beyond your physical boundary. As long as it's inside you, you are still conditioned to the matter conditions of where you are.
Yeah, that's my problem. That is exactly my problem.
That's the problem with everybody. You're not the only one.
Yeah.
This is what we've been trying to teach. This is what we're trying to expand what they call how to trust yourself to expand this field, that when it interacts with this environment, which is different than the physical environment, because then you interact with the magnetic fields of whatever is available connected to you, you can travel down a line, decide where you go, decide which line you open, who you talk to, and then if you decide to use it as a means of communication, it stays as a means of communication. And if you decide to use it as a means of transportation, you transmute, you go to another position. Doesn't mean that you want to go back in becoming physical, but you can decide when you arrive. And you want to still be on the dimensions of what are called the fields, and one day you decide to change back to physicality, or you never want to change back to the dimension of physicality, then you don't need to call it a dream, because when you call it a dream, you have control, but you don't connect it to your physicality. Something else happened to me somewhere else. But when you expand your energy dimension beyond yourself, you see the physicality inside you, so you control the dimension of physicality. You are in charge of it. And you got to learn how to expand this, how to allow this external, what they call, field to embrace your physicality, and that's the fear. It happened to us at the point of death. It doesn't cover the body of the man. It has a direction, it moves out, and more or less, that's the end of it. But when you go through its expansion of the fields, then you're in charge of it. It embraces the whole body of the man. At the point of death, is directional. It leaves the body. There is no return. And now you have. This is why this week, even here, we have brought in a number of systems which is going back on what is to be the obvious, and the knowledge seekers continuously use it to see how they feel, how they expand, and how they can control the expansion. And can we control the expansion in conjunction with the physicality? This is part of these systems now. When it gets used by patients of the doctors, they connect in one dimension, they expand the soul, with the other dimension, through dimension of physicality, we fix the body through headphones that you have, your Apples or whatever else. It's a hybrid in a way, the way it is. But this time, the dimension of energy of what we call the soul of the man is in charge of, not imprisoned. We understand the emotion of why we got ourselves into this condition. At the moment when you go to a doctor, you're given a pill, handles your physicality, or they play with the chemicals in your brain to control your emotions, your anger, your depression. It's the first time where we can integrate both the soul of the man with the physicality of the man. And then you understand how your emotion has created the problems of the physicality. To what extent? And very soon, now that these units for the first time are getting out, in conjunction with the facilities which we had before with the headphones that you can put on your different part of your body, we will see a revolution in the world of science, a revolution in the world of medicine, where we control both the energy, the emotion, the soul, and the physicality, and we understand what we've done to ourselves, both in the dimension of emotion of the soul and emotion of the physicality. So you have to understand, you have to trust what you do. The reason you can't let it come out maybe is inexperience, and 99% is fear. When it comes out, what am I going to do with it? How am I going to put the genie back in the bottle? Or do others people see me as something strange? Till we get to that point, till we understand this, we need a process of trust, learning, and then applying. Then the energy doesn't sit inside. You live a physical life and you're aware of the dimension of the field. It's like when you drive a hybrid, electric, and a petrol car. You decide when to switch, but unfortunately you can't use both at the same time. This is the first time it happens. You can control both, you're aware of both, and till more and more people learn about it, let them call you crazy. But now they understand when you talk crazy, it happens. It's not crazy. It's something they don't understand. They are not, what do you call it, privileged to, and then they find a solution for it. And this is the process of what I keep on saying. We are in that position now, for the first time, from this, what we call week of teaching here, with the new system going out, with the people who operate the systems and the doctors who are going to use it, and the people who bring the patients or the doctors together, can physically connect the soul of the man and the soul of physicality and the physicality of the man together. What it'll take us 3 months, 6 months before to do with the headphones, the way it was done up to now, it should be done within a few days. Because you become aware of the what is and what the soul stops, what the soul of physicality stops, what emotion has created these problems. This week on, we see an evolution in the world of medicine, and we need to do this because gradually, as we developed, as our people learned, as we learned, we have gone into a process of, in a way, understanding, handling the soul of the man and the physicality of the man, and connect them together the way we see it. It's not in there. You don't need to dream to go to see your grandmother you loved when you were young and she died. Now you can clearly go and see. You don't have to wait one day, next 10 years, 20 years, you might see the grandmother again. Now you dictate. At the same time, you feel the emotion of touching it. To you, the people who go through this process will become tangible. People who harmed you, people who damaged you, people who created the problems that it led to your fibromyalgia, it led to your different psychological conditions. In this way, you connect to the souls and you can physically sort it out. You will see a massive change in the whole approach of the world of medicine from now on. Now we have the systems. Now we have doctors who monitor from outside, and the people who monitor from inside, which is you. You're aware of both. So let the soul loose and just don't be saying it's inside me, I can feel it. Now you have to allow the expansion of it. But how you do it, what fear stops you doing it, it goes through this process. The way we see it with these new headphones, which now has replacing the obesos, those massive systems, is that people will come and ask, not necessarily just for the medical application, dual purpose. Then you learn how, you teach yourself how. We don't look, as I said to our people in the lab when they were making it, people have not realized what we are giving them. With this health unit obesos with the headphones, and using the physical headphones, you get connected to two obesos. It's not just one. One is the medical side and one is the soul side, and they sit hundreds of kilometers away from each other. This is the beauty of what is to come. And our people have to learn it, have to understand it, that they can implement it. You gradually will come to the point that you can transmute and transfer. You call the center, says, I want to transmute, can I have the support? You're given the support to expand your soul, and then you decide where to go. And then they can retract it when you arrive. The game of the space technology, with this technology, what we put out from this week, it will change. But if you put everything out, people get confused, people don't understand. Step by step, we will add to the knowledge. But the system, these new headphones which are going out, are totally a new structure in the world of the medicine, in the world of communication, and in the expansion of the soul. The universal communication system will not, it's nothing to do with this, it's a totally different system. The systems which should go out now to put on, used by doctors and physicians, gives that capability, and still we are so advanced. Even I said during the teaching the past few days, even these headphones are so advanced, they are already obsolete in what has been developed from the time they've been produced. In conference on Saturday night, you will see the new version, the new dimension in technology, which has made these which are on the edge of the science still obsolete. And I think in the next few months, even those will be obsolete. They become, again, a generation which is past. We know what it is. I know exactly how it's going to be. But our scientists, our research people, the developers in 2 or 3 different countries which are developing different parts of it, have to become educated to understand it. Otherwise it becomes monkey see, monkey does. So you have to learn. And you have to trust. And if you cannot do, find access to wellness centers and the machines which are getting expanded, and start learning how to use it. You cannot do it and hold it with the headphones. The new system we put out gives that the step up. And then in the coming time, hopefully in conjunction with the Chinese government and what we signed ourselves to, these will be mass produced in millions. To feed you, I'm sure, as I said to the Chinese, sooner or later you find a way, I know how to be done, to control people through these headphones. It's not just feeding it. You control the emotion. We already tested, we know it can be done. Then it comes to the world leaders. This comes to the point of how we use the emotion to create one nation policy. That we all feel good, we all have what we want. And in a way, if you understand further down the line what these headphones and these systems will give you, you don't need to work to have money in your system to be able to live. You decide the digits. And the other guy decides what he wants for the digits he has for what he has. And this cash policy, this what we call cryptocurrency, will go to the wall. If what we see develops in extension of what is with these headphones we put out, there will be a new world structure of how we live. I always said the cat, the dog, the lion does not pay water charges, electricity charges. They don't go to get paid for the water they. Why should man do? Why do we have to carry a piece of paper to tell us we have a passport and where we can live, and others can bomb us because of the wrong color passport and imprison us? The implication of the new this new headset will bring a revolution in the way man handles man. 1 second you're in New York, the next second you're in Beijing, and the rest. And this is what our colleagues in the Chinese structure tell us. We need time to learn. We need to understand what this will imply. But the beauty of it is Chinese have no control of it, because knowledge seekers in England, knowledge seekers in America, knowledge seekers in Russia already use it. So it forces the governments to come together to find a common solution for man. And then it comes a game which is to be played by the members of the Universal Council. And then we'll see, maybe in 10 years' time, once this technology, once these headphones, once this, what we have signed contracts with the Chinese government and with the defense side, comes into operation with the space, you will see changes that nobody can control. The reason for it is these teachings. I sit here in this classroom, there are about, what, 10, 15, 20 different nationalities, races, colors. We haven't strictly put it to the Chinese, and all of you, one way or another, have the knowledge to expand. The teaching of past 10 years, 15 years has brought that condition. We've become one nation. Now our leaders have to understand how to handle us as knowledge seekers. You put it out, and like a copycat, you make it as fast as you can. What's the next step? What do we achieve?
There's one problem.
Where are you from? Where are you talking?
I think I'm a nurse. I'm a nurse, and
which country are you in now?
For changing the environment, there's one problem. I think when I am on top of the head of the patients in the hospital, I can feel the inner energy of them, and where is the flow of going, the path. The paths are can be felt by me, and I know what should be done to them, and but I can't. I think there is some authorities or some contracts has been made to someone unknown. I don't know what. There is not allowed to change the environment.
That's the limitation.
The environment doesn't obey.
No, that's a limitation of your understanding. There is no contract, there is nothing. It's just because you don't understand now, you have to find an excuse.
Yeah.
And when we had the corona, the Iranian team, they went into the hospital and they washed the hospitals. And everybody looked what these people doing. In a few hospitals, they were allowed to go in. They sprayed the gases, cup 1, cup 2, on the walls, in the emergency rooms, and they saw the change. The change of environment came by creating the gases to be on the wall. There was no conditioning force. We just opened access to magnetic fields. If you have a problem, create a condition that brings a new environment, not in a matter state. but in the energy state, what we call the Ganser state. Then you find out that it's you who puts that limitation. I said to a doctor in Abu Dhabi or Dubai a few months ago, he said, I cannot transfer the energy. I cannot do what I want to do, but I know I can do. I said, before you go and see your patients, wash your hand with gases. Don't dry it. Just wash your hand with gases and try to approach your patient. You don't need a cloth. The gloves you wear, wet it, soak it with the gases which you think will change the condition. You create the environment. And it works. We just put the gases in a bottle and we say what it does. As doctors, as nurses, this is what you got to do. You cannot sterilize, you cannot bring the whole gases into the operating room. You take it in your hand. And we saw the changes with the patients. We see the changes. You, as a nurse, I remember speaking with you very recently about your auntie or whatever.
Yeah, very correct.
Am I correct?
Yeah, you're
so
correct.
What do you need to do? What do you need to do? You're an active nurse. You cannot spray gases. They tell you you're crazy, whatever. But you can carry gas waters with you, put it on the gloves, always add a CO to it that sterilizes. And what else you want to do? You create that environment. You can expand the soul. You can reach to the patient different way.
Yes, I never tried that.
Because you could. That's why we teach for you to learn to try it. You create that condition until one day it comes. Then you change the environment. As nurses, as doctors, this is the opportunity you have. It's very hard to teach. And then they say, oh, whatever this doctor or patient nurse touches heals. They don't know you're using the energy which allows them to take it in. We have a guy, I know his wife is listening, she's a devoted knowledge seeker. She lives in the United States. She's a Mormon. Her husband, through their faith, cannot take medicine and operation. He had a cancer of hip bone. He went from 70, 80 kilos to nearly 100 and odd kilos, lying in bed because he could not walk anymore. It was a time of when we were battling with Anna Stelling in that area. She hears about the Keshe Foundation. She says, I cannot do anything. I cannot give him medicine. I cannot touch him with medicine. So she starts making gases and creating towels and putting it under his sheet. That she broke the rule. She didn't use anything, but she covered him with gases. In a few months' time, he had no cancer. And he woke up. But she taught herself how to create the environment in the bed while he was there dying. He is the son of one of the richest men in the United States. And they have international operation around the world. Now I talk to them on a regular basis because they see, as Mormons, they don't need to change, but they can change the environment. They can't take and say people take gases, but you can create conditions. As doctors and nurses, you create a condition without them knowing. You put gases in the surgery you work. What it does, what's the reason? You change it. We have an ambassador in Norway who has changed his office into Keshe Foundation laboratory, and he moved into the bedroom. And he says, anybody wants to see me, has to see me in that position. But at the same time, he's a scientist with the fishery and agriculture of the Norwegian government. and he uses it, but he doesn't tell people because they don't understand. But what I do is magic for them because I'm saving the fish, and I do a lot of other things that couldn't be done before. You have to, you say you can't expand yourself, find a way to do it. You're the last man standing. This is the purpose of the teaching in a month time, or end of this month in November, with the light in the hand. It's not just the light, it's for you to understand the fields, how they play. So next time when you say, I don't know what to do, you meet your patients in the club, make guesses in a way it doesn't touch you. What is outside they can do, they can touch. And then explain to doctors why things are magic. You walk into these hospitals, most of people coming with no diseases, they get all sorts of infections, more than what they came in for. You wear your gloves, just puts you around the beds, filled, one on the top, one on the bottom. Then nobody asks. And then you become a magician. Then you can teach. But help yourself to expand first. Expand your
But I
knowledge,
think
understand.
doctors are
Forget
so
about
arrogant.
Forget about doctors. It's you who has to, what you do.
Yeah.
The same is with every
Yeah.
trade, doesn't matter, doctors, professors, the bosses, all it is, they know better. So you do your work and it changes the dimension.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let me see what you did with your auntie, if you can do with others in the hospital. Thank you very much.
Yeah, my aunt is very good, in a very good condition. We continued that vegan diet, and she feels very, very good. She feels, I think, yes, she has a pain in L5 bone, and she doesn't feel pain anymore with the vegan diet.
Wish you all the best.
The cancer.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Okay, we have Mashfek with a hand up here as well. Let's see, can you go ahead, Mashfek?
Okay. The soul of man. I think I have a few more clues about the soul of man's operation. However, soul of physicality and physicality, it feels fleeting. Sometimes I can maintain it, but it's more like hit and miss. So I just it seems that something is very, things are going well, but there are a little bit of things, especially as it relates to soul of physicality and physicality, is slightly not, it's not there. It's just kind of like I can't hold it as easily as I can hold the fields of the soul of man. So maybe you have some thoughts about how we might be able to maintain such fields to achieve a certain objective.
He's sitting a few meters away from me, so it's easy to answer. This is not a problem with you, it's a problem with everyone. How to separate the emotion of physicality from the emotion of the man as the soul of the man. The problem is, again, you get too busy with one and you forget what created the other one. the solar physicality comes first in the creation of man, because the soul is not created to coordinate everything else. When you get the egg and the sperm, when they come together, they don't have enough energy from themselves to split. They gather that energy from the energy of the womb of the mother. In that process, you call it one chromosome is less or one chromosome is more, to the world of creation, that one creates a magnetic field difference that allows the motion of the fields. In the world of medicine, you always say, oh, this is men and that's that woman, and you have one chromosome. They don't understand. God doesn't know chromosomes. God understands the work of the transfer of energy. So the one which is one more is have more fields into it by the law of the physics in trying to bring balance between the two plasmas that become trinity. It creates a motion of the fields between the two. And that motion, because of the size of the egg and the sperm in the womb, absorbs energy from the field of the mother, from the field of the liquid within the womb of the mother. Now, more energy received. There is a certain size the bag can be. It explodes in a way, it divides. And then now you have 3 eggs. Now you have 4 eggs. Now it gets faster and faster. But there is no coherent condition. It's just single cells working together. They create a common denominator field. That's the soul of physicality. When it reaches to the point, when the totality in numbers increases to the point that now they can maintain life on their own, in a way, knowing who needs what first without just only absorbing from the mother womb energies, then the soul is created. Now there is independence, but the soul of physicality still operates because the cells are working together to divide. Soul becomes a coordinator. Who goes first? Who goes next? But each section starts working for itself. That's separation from the soul and the soul of physicality. Now we understand the process is got to be very easy to use, the understanding of the soul of physicality and which part of it we use. In the present time, because you're not knowledgeable, we call it the soul of physicality, that's it. But in that soul of physicality sits the soul of kidney, sits the soul of lung, sits others, which collectively they interact, they condition themselves for production of the physical life. And this is where the understanding has to come. Our doctors and scientists in the future will separate each soul separately. Just because you have magnetic field of the earth does not mean the condition of the earth applies the same whether on Mars or Jupiter. But collectively, as part of the system, they create the solar system, where the soul of it sits with the sun. Or even each one individually has his own soul, his own structure, his own weather. One day in the future, man will understand even the solar systems of us with all the planetary system is exactly like the body of man. Some of our planetary system are absorbers of energy from the environment, play the game of the what we call the hydrogen. Some play the game of the nitrogen, and some play the game of oxygen. And at the same time, they play the game of kidney and the liver. They dispose of the fields which are in the system, which is not needed, and they reject it into the what we call galaxy. There is no difference in the structure. This is how we develop the space technology. Look for which planetary system behaves as what you call the kidney or bladder, which rejects energy out. We go for that planetary system, we sit in it, and we decide which way we go out of. You try to get urine out of your heart is an impossibility. Every solar system, every planetary system, every galaxy, every universe has the same process. Extracting energy, taking energy in, recycling it, rejecting it, digesting it, is different part of the system. We have to understand. We just look at Jupiter and say, oh, it's sitting there. Jupiter has a specific job in recycling, absorbing energies, which then become usable to the sun. It's like the outer skins. On the skin of the man, we absorb vitamin D. In the outer, what we call planetary system, that's their job. How do we feed back energy through? We have not understood. We just call them planetary system. There is a Mars, there is a moon, because we never understood. At the moment, our Earth is part of the digestion system of the fields which arrive in. It's not just that we live and there is a planetary runs around. The Earth has its own solar physicality. The sun controls the soul of the whole system. But we are ignorant to the knowledge. We just say, oh, Jupiter goes that way, Saturn goes that way. But each one has a function. Creating the heartbeat, holding the heartbeat of the solar system. So now you have to understand where the physicality is started. You have to understand where the soul sits, and it's very easy then how to play the two together. You are used to playing with one. Now you have to understand how to bring the soul of physicality, and in a way you become ignorant to it, but in a way you decide to be ignorant to it. You change your breathing system to get what we call change in the emotion or the expansion of the soul, but you don't look at what sort of physicality of the lung plays in that game. How much that puts in, or how much it takes from the energy. And we're ignorant to these things. But now we understand more. We have to pay. Then there is no separation in the totality of the knowledge. But you have to decide which one, in which way you want to expand, and which one you want to reduce in the control interaction. I want to touch physically my lover. I stay in the dimension of physicality. I want my lover to feel my love. I go through the soul. We haven't even learned that much yet. We're still entangling if the soul expands. Then you understand what the true meaning of a soulmate is. You hold the physical body, but you transfer the love, the energy through the soul. Why do we kiss each other? Why do we hug each other? We haven't understood. We don't want to understand, but we would like the benefits of it. When you hold someone, just see how you can change their mind by elevating it, not taking from them. My children say, when you hug, we just feel so fresh, because yes, I give so much to you in those few seconds. It's not just a touch. You hold your head against me from childhood. I'm connected to you, so you take more than you bargained for. Now you understand. Look where you control your physicality and what that physical part changes in the fields which decides on the expansion of your soul, and then you learn to play. Any other question?
Okay, thank you, Mashfaq. I have another hand up here with Salamia. Would you like to go ahead, Salamia?
Yes, Rick, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Keshe, for all what you do. I would like to have a proposal for Ambassador Conference to Keshe Foundation to initiate the drafting of Universal Declaration of Peace, similarly to Universal Declaration of Human Rights. But we need more peace. We need also, rights, but we need peace. And not only drafting, but helping signatory states to sign it and ratify it. It's like our
I think you haven't become a very good knowledge seeker. I tell you how we do it. We give to the soul of the ambassadors. We don't writing. Writing is a dimension of physicality, and you bring the change. At the moment, in past 48 hours, we become aware that a number of governments are pressurizing again, like before, for governments not to attend the conference. And it's very, very highly pressurized by the American government. Our American government has taken a spearhead in this, trying to stop nations to come to the conference. Even the ambassadors who agreed to come, they changed it to another and the other. And we don't stand for this. We know the way we go, the way we are going. And in a very straight way, we respond to this aggression of the American government towards the Keshe Foundation with a very, very direct work in a very, very near future. They would ask for a peace conference of the ambassadors. We know exactly what we're going to do with them. But writing it doesn't help. Man, always, the minute the ink dries, it dries his memory too, unless it's to his benefit. So this ratification writing will not bring much about. It has to be done in a different way. It has to be done through the soul level. And I have moved in past 24 hours to, in a way, rebuff the American movement, and at the same time, the way they started playing the game. Very soon, in the next 12 months, for maybe 2 years, Americans will ask for a conference to sit, to talk for peace. But we do it scientifically, we do it the way we understand, not on a piece of paper. Americans are very good. The minute they sign the paper, the next minute they forget it is not to their benefit. Any other question?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. I have another proposal, maybe from Keshe Foundation floor, to ask again all artists to paint portrait of peace, all kind of artists, including filmmakers, theater makers, painters, writers, and poets who writes poetry, and all of this to be directly aims to change at the soul level through the arts, through the products of the soul, all souls, elevate the souls of leaders, not only the leaders, but of all population of the planet.
We already, and a lot of artists work on that. We
I
don't
know.
need to already have developed a lot of it. We still have a lot of paintings from the artists. Now we closed the Linz exhibition center to move this to London, hopefully, if our guys find a place for us in the next few months or a few weeks. Everything is more or less ready to be shipped and to start a center, exhibition center in London. And the next one will be one of the most, what I call, detailed exhibitions of the technology and science will be in the beautiful city of Beijing. You're working on it. We know roughly where it will be, and you want to see the state of art of the Keshe Foundation technology, you come to Beijing.
Thank you
And
very much. Yes.
sooner or
Yes.
later it will be there for you. Maybe the artists will bring their work. Thank you very much. Any other question?
When I'm sorry, I would like to say something more, if you allowed me. Which leaders will be able to help this process of peace? Maybe Jinping to be on this picture, maybe Vladimir Putin, or a mix between Vladimir Putin and Jinping together. And I don't know, we have painting of war, but we do not have painting and the portrait of peace with peace. Many artists.
We leave it to the artists to come up with. One day they will. We've seen that done. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Yes. We have a hand up from Dean here, but before that, we've got a question from Ali in the chat.
Before we go through this, I have to make an announcement. Knowledge seekers who've been on the Telegram chats of the Keshe Foundation already know, and those of you who do not know, we have opened up a number of places for Saturday night ambassadorial meeting for knowledge seekers who could not afford to pay the, what we call the high fees, on the basis that you register and you donate what you like, what you can, to the foundation to attend. These are the seats in rebuff of the American government, what they've done. The seats of ambassadors cancelled or not to come, now is available to the knowledge seekers. I've sent a direct message to the American government. This is the second time you played with me, the third time I played with you. They played this game in Eindhoven. Now they pressurize all the European countries not to attend, and they've thrown a lot of lines and links for them. So we open the seats of the ambassadors who do not attend to the knowledge seekers. You will meet some of the top scientists of British government in the session. They will attend, they'll be there. And in the future, we establish a collaboration with the scientists and what I call the structure of the space technology with this condition. So if you wanted to come but you could not afford it, what we've done is we open the seats of the ambassadors who don't come to the public, to the knowledge seekers, register, and we said, make any donation you like that we can cover the cost. And by tomorrow night, you'll be given, if there is any space left to it, because I know the scientific group are trying to add more scientists to be present tomorrow. So if you wanted to come and you couldn't, no one can come in at the door. We will not allow anyone at the door. And you got to understand, because our ambassadors involved are there, there is a heavy police presence due to a number of ambassadors who already accepted, or embassy staff accepted to be there. Any other question?
Well, Ali had asked in the chat, are NASA and Tesla's people coming to the conference?
the invitation sits with them. The invitation says there is the Keshe Foundation, because of a lot of other things we do, which is not in public, it has a lot of interface action with these people one way or another. But the whole structure, which has been our aim, has been to show the flight, the change in the space technology in China. All our systems are set to, by the time we have the conference in Sanya, the Chinese scientists, through Keshe Foundation scientists, will show the flight system for sure. Then we change our position and what we talked about. And as I said to those who understood what we said, we have already shipped all the materials to change the condition and position with the Chinese government and the rest of the world into China in past 4 or 5 months. We shipped large number of systems which are hidden to the Western nations into China. And the back of this will be the flight system, which now is getting completed, and the rest of it. We show the auxiliary part of the technology in London on Saturday. The flight system, the defense technology, will be shown clearly with the support of Chinese military in China in what we call the exhibition, which will be set up. We show it as a point of power where we can change the position of peace. Some of the most advanced reactors are getting developed for this purpose. So you will see for sure the flight system. You will see the first what I call magnetic gravitational plasma system, which can create food energy as one integrated system in China. You will see the auxiliary part, which is on the back of the separation of the Iranian development of the lift and motion, which is for food, production of material, absorption of CO2, and the others on Saturday in what we call London conference. What I call the point of man becoming part of the space in the matter state will be shown in what we call Beijing. The process of transmutation of man through energy will be shown in the beautiful city of Shiraz in Iran. That will be sometimes in mid-2024. And we bring this forward step by step in collaboration between the Iranian space scientists and the Chinese space scientists, that they both understand. Any other question?
Okay, we've got Dean here as well. Dean, would you like to go ahead, please?
Thank you, Rick. Mr. Keshe, we have these headsets, and I have one on in this moment. Can I connect to the other people in the room by a connection through a soul that is present in the moment, that can actually think of something that connects to another person? Or do I need to just not think and just be present and just connect the fields of a lower or higher order?
I can see with that. And I can see 14 of these sets are in this room. The consciousness, somebody's mobile, I can hear myself back.
I think, Dean, you'll have to mute when Mr. Keshe is talking.
It's about 3 meters away from me. The process is very simple. Once you reach the point of expansion, you can expand, but you cannot steal. Thou shalt not steal. Even though I say, oh dear Dean, I would like to connect you with the soul. You put that headphone, I put my headphone, and we connect. My soul knows connecting to you, you damage my soul. The soul won't allow it, even the physicality talks. It's like you want to go and see your grandmother tonight, grandmother is not home. So it doesn't matter how physically you do, the soul have that power that, sorry, you like him physically, but his soul is not good for me to be in touch with, not at the moment. So you can try, but doesn't mean that you reach it. If it is accepted to be, because we tested this thoroughly. If you can intrude just because you want to, it doesn't work. Even though I cuddle you physically, our souls, skulls sticking to each other, my soul says, I don't want nothing to do with this. He calls me physically. What he has energy for me, I have no connection with. And we see that. We have a very simple system developed, which we can even see how the rejection is done. How you change with each other. It's a very, very simple system. When we developed it actually when we tested it about 3-4 years ago in Austria, it's amazing how they decide, the souls, the energies decide to keep separation. Even the knowledge seekers who are with me on the table, they can't see it, they don't understand it. To them is emotion. For me, the direction of the motion, the way the motion happened in plasma explains I like you, I don't like you, but I'm prepared to take part of you. This happens, we know this, that you can even do a lot of things with one line of connection, but not the other. It's very much like somebody can fulfill you, give you the maximum joy playing football with. You always want to play, but you don't want to have his cooking because he's an awful cook. You understand? So just because you think you have one line of connection doesn't mean that it covers everything. You want to connect, you can try. Everybody hears with or without the headphone. But if they are not there, they don't accept. The soul, your soul has a strength to them that they feel in danger, or they want to take more of. It's very, very normal once you understand the process. So yes, you can connect. Try me, or try him, or him. You might feel, you might connect, but he might not feel it. But in another dimension where he's not aware, you fulfill what he needs. And then he comes back, oh, I felt you somewhere else in last night. When I want to feel it. When we want to see it, we have the pleasure to have one of our, what I call dearest members of Keshe Foundation with us on Saturday and Sunday. And he is characteristic of doing these things. He does these things quite a lot, and I enjoy working with him. And we'll teach you a little bit more with him when he's here. You're gonna go on the line. We got more questions from knowledge seekers in the house than outside.
Hello everybody. So first of all, I advise anybody who can come here. It's once in a life occasion to see the new things, to hear the new things, amazing things, good things, and try maybe these things for yourself. Secondly, I ask Mr. Keshe if an example you just said, by the emotion of the soul of the second person, the first person can get in, communicate with. If the soul of B accepts, the soul of A can affect it, expand to touch it.
Sorry about this. You have to go silent on yours. You can help others to expand souls. That is a privilege, but you have to have the strength to be able to do it without damaging yourself. These systems are multifaceted, and they go into a system which is bigger. You can chunk a lot of things up. We don't have a physical material like a brain built. We have created an environment in the system where we create the condition. The systems which are in what we call medical enhancement side, the wellness side, are one-sided. They're built to support the shape of the brain of the man. What we call the mother system is built like the plasma of the universe. It's spherical. And it has the capability to convert and mix everything together. You take what you like from it. This system it's taken us a long time for our scientists to understand, to build it. It does not tap into any energy at all. It uses universal energy. It absorbs energy from the matter and the cosmos, and it converts it to what you need at the time. It's very unique. In the system which you will see on Saturday, even 4 systems run out of it, and it's highly energy consuming. For the first time, we show the generator. The system continuously produces energy from the environment and feeds itself and connects to what it wants to connect. It's the first time we publicly show what we call perpetual energy, cosmic energy absorption, that it charges itself and it feeds itself. And in our system, in the parents, what we call system, we have that condition. We don't use matter energy. We continuously produce energy in plasma, and with it, like your stomach, you put 20% in, you get 80% out of the environment, works out. Then we can do, but you as people cannot do. You don't have that capability. You might be able to help part of it, but you cannot do all of it. It's when you see the system on Saturday, you see a remote box and operation, but no connection. And this runs, it continuously feeds itself up, but in fact you use huge amount of energy to run the system, but it provides its own energy. It's the first time we show the power production on its own. And that system absorbs, and it can give and it can take. And if you're in the conference, try to sit for a few seconds, if we allow you, in the new, what you call, head unit. Then you see the difference between these head units you have and the head units which are coming in the next generation. Can I have it, please, when it's done that way? But by the time we get to that one, the next one comes up, more advanced. You will feel it because you had a taste of these headphones today. We allowed you for a week. But when you go to the new head system, you feel the change. You understand how much technology has jumped.
Is it for sale?
No.
Later?
No.
Cinderella Silver?
No, at the moment, not yet. We'll go to developments, what we have with the Chinese government, and expansion of the technology. Any other question? Taste it, especially you lot who you tested these headphones this week here. Try to get in and just sit in the machine for a few seconds. Then you know what it means to actually touch your soul.
Mm.
Any other question?
Mr. Keshe,
Somebody's mobile phone is open here.
Mr. Keshe, I have
Cesar.
a question. Can I write from your blackboard to show what my question is so you can understand?
Yes. Well, you're very unfortunate.
We can't hear you, Mr. Keshe.
I said, unfortunately, we don't have a blackboard. It's white and green here.
Okay, if we talk about
the way you walked from here to there, we are in a fairly medium-sized classroom in Queen Mary College, University of London, and she got up from 4th row, walking to the front, and I'm sitting like a naughty boys in the back end. Always, this used to be my place. I never sat in the front. I hate the guys who sit in the front. They're smarty guys. People with wanting to create problem always sit in the back row. I feel so good sitting in the back row in the classroom. I can do whatever I want. But when I saw you walking from there to there, if I was a hunter, you're a beautiful meat. You're the best hunted thing. Have you seen yourself how you walk? Yeah, you walk like this. Anybody wants to eat me, I'm ready to go. So, but that's the difference. This is how we expand the soul. So, next time when you walk, don't go like this. The board is yours.
Okay, yesterday we talked about the animal, vegetation, plants. So my question was the difference between the animals, vegetation, and animals, vegetation, and human. So we got to this point that also animals have the intellect, because we talk about the fish, 100,000 fish, suddenly they change direction at the same time because they know what they're doing. Or if a deer is seeing a lion, they right away go away. Or a small fish see a big fish, they go and hide because it's the instinct of survival. So it came to me last night, if I put a line here and a line here, the animals and vegetation's life goes between these two lines because there's a limitation. So human, I thought, if this is a line, this is human, is unlimited, because I give a few examples. I mean, these are my thoughts. I don't know if it's correct. Say I'm walking down the street and a man is following me and just talking to me and wants to go out with me and bothering me. I can turn around, hit him in his balls and punch him in his nose and be done with it. Or I can talk him out of it. Or I can take him home and sleep with him. These are my options. So another woman,
which one do you prefer?
The second one.
To beat him up or take him home?
I talk him out of it.
So you don't know what you're doing in a way.
No, I talk him out of it because I'm not interested. If I'm not interested, I make a choice. I tell him right away I'm not interested. But I don't do the other two. But these are the choices.
Can I tell you something very straight, direct? You have never lived in England. Men don't accept no. So you have a problem here.
So it's going to be first option. Okay, so another thing is I go to a party. This is another example. I go to a party. A person comes in front of me, start blah, 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 blah. And I'm not interested in talking to him. And I stay there, hold a smile, and I understand, I listen, and I don't say anything. But if a big fish comes over a small fish, he runs away because they have one choice, to instinct to just survive. So human, because of free will.
No, that's your understanding. That is your understanding. That's what your imagination.
No, Mr. Keshe. So that's why we be drained from our energy, because we let other people to do whatever they want. We don't say what we really feel. For example, if I come to you, want to talk to you, and you don't like me, you just say something and go away. You don't stand there and listen to me.
Depends if you want to kick or you want to talk to me. No, but the thing is, we have a right. You want to close your phone. We, as human, you made 3 mistakes in your statement. First mistake is that you, even I'm blind, I can't see from the back. Now I understand why all those women look so beautiful from distance, because in my eye I can't see anything. They all look gorgeous until I come to the front. You're still gorgeous when I come to the front, no problem about that. But what you wrote on the board is absolute nonsense. Because you wrote 2 lines and you said this is the animal images, that's how much they understand. This is your assumption. That animal, that plant understands more than you as a human. The plant creates a poison. The plant creates thorn for you not to come close, for it to survive. So he has a very good instinct. We just look at these things. You look at the animals. They don't run away. How come a cat and a dog can sleep in the same nest? Depends what they communicate. And then you look at the process of cycle of life. The process of cycle of life, what we call everybody living in hunky-dory, nobody eats no one. The way we have structured our life on this planet at the moment is the fish grows that I give from my body for you to take part of my soul, that your soul elevates. So even though I run away, I don't like this fish to eat me, but I like the other fish to eat me because I know I can do more to his soul. So when you put brackets that this is them, it's totally wrong. They understand more than you and me. And this is the assumption we make when we go to space. Just because something is just a field doesn't mean it's weak. Queen Mary cannot afford the heating, so they put a fan in here. And I cannot talk. So,
Mr. Keshe, what about there's a tree? I go and cut it, and tree cannot do anything. It cannot run away, so it's just standing there.
Yes, but you have to understand why the tree was there from the beginning. You cut it. You want to burn, to heat yourself. You want. They accept the soul of a plant. Accepted that condition. The soul. Why do you get herbs and other things growing every year from the seed? You look at it, physical matter. You look at the other way, how the energies are given. I want you to eat me because through me, your soul elevates. What a beautiful smell. What a beautiful taste. The energy I take elevates my soul, that when I die, part of that seed with me has traveled to the space. That's all it is. And we don't understand it. So if you go, unfortunately, you can't kick the plants. Some of us do. I don't like you. We don't need. Yesterday, last night, you went to a birthday party. And I had the pleasure of, we going, ending up as usual in the Chiricahua. And they bring, the sabzi we have, the greens. You can put anything in front of me. It's there. But when I see tarhun, tarhun? Oh, my heart goes. The rest doesn't exist. It can be tons of it. 2, 3 branches, it's good enough for everything. And that elevation, that pleasure, elevates my soul, and this soul, memory of a tarhun, whatever it is, when my soul travels the span of the universe, is carried with me. So that plant being there is part of the elevation of the joy of me that I with it, I can take with me. I came from Iran 50 years ago. It was impossible to find tarapun. When I found it about 30 years ago for the first time, oh, I was like a child with the biggest sweet in his pocket. Because it brought back so much pleasures of childhood. And so when my soul travels to Mars and wants that pleasure, I remember it, so that plant re-emphasizes their pleasure. So it's your assumption that they have that knowledge, that soul. The assumption or the truth is that we are all equal. The dog, the cat, the plant, the tree, the man. It's just that we would like to play the ignorant. And we are better. I've been, some time ago, I sat somewhere, I had to be there. And a guy started telling me about nuclear physics and this and this. And I sat, I listened. I thought, if I tell him who I am, what I do, the guy will do a different thing. I sat with him and everything. And then I went to the Keshe Foundation website and I said, this is me. Oh, I didn't know you're a nuclear engineer, whatever. I said, do you want to tell me more rubbish? I could have told you from first sentence, you're talking nonsense. But you have the right to do what you like. You have the right to say what you like. And we assume, one of the most beautiful things about us as a human is, and I marvel this, and it just baffles me. We don't know. We all walk on the street. Maybe because she looks Chinese, we think she speaks Chinese. But I've met Chinese children who know not a word of Chinese. They've been brought up in the West. They refuse to speak Chinese. They don't even understand. I've got to know one in Beijing. She's a gorgeous woman there. She's opened a restaurant. She's Italian, but Chinese Italian says, and now I came to China to learn Chinese because my parents never taught me Chinese. When we walk on the street, nobody knows, because of our color, our hair, how many languages we speak, how we behave, till we open our mouth. The worst thing nowadays to do is to speak English. Because everybody knows yes or no, everyone says yes, please, and whatever. Even in the back villages of God knows Africa. So we are that way. We don't know, we just assume. We look Iranian, my children, other people's children, grandchildren, carry the Iranian name, but they don't even know, say hello in Farsi. And we make assumptions because it looks Chinese, it speaks Chinese. You make assumption that the animals and plants, if you, when you look at the tree, realize it understands more than me, it has more emotion than me, I'm stupid, I have to walk somewhere to find food. This guy stands there for 20 years and he gets the food coming to him. What have I missed? When I watch trees, when I watch plants, I admire them. I love to be a vertical people. They change the color of the leaves, they absorb different energy, they change the direction of the stand, they absorb different energy. Us humans wake up, walk to find food. That guy has never standing in one place for 100 years, 1,000 years, food come to him. He's much cleverer than me. It's the same in the space. Just because you see something, we can't assume. It's the same with animals. We assume we are cleverer, we can go. No. Actually, we are lower. When I look at the plants, I love the way they live. And in space, we have creatures, we have structures which tap into the universal energy. They never move. You think they're a stone. Why should they move? Because they have everything coming to them. I've said many times, we, because can move from the ground and stand up and go back to the ground, we think become very clever. And this change of the position in respect to Earth gravity of lying down and standing up has created dimension of the variation of the fields, which has brought us intelligence. Because when you're flat, you need different energy. When you stand up, you need different energy. When you bend down, you have a different energy. So our brain continuously absorbing a spectrum of energies. And that absorbing understanding has created intellect for us. Doesn't mean we understand more. And this is the assumption we always make. And this is what I say, in a space, you interact with your soul. Don't eat me, I don't eat you. It's just because it looks beautiful in physicality doesn't mean you're going to put it in your mouth and eat it. So when you mature to understand, please understand, don't take things by just because you assume. When you're in a space, when you're on Earth, wherever, respect that plant. This is clever than us. Respect that animal is clever than us. And then maybe one day we become intelligent enough to understand how they work. As long as we think we are better, we are actually lower because our own ignorance becomes the tool of our own demise. You start expanding your soul. Say, do you need to pick the guy? You're still talking dimension of physicality. Or do you need to take the guy home again? Or you interact with his soul. He must be the ugliest man you've ever seen. That's why you don't want to talk to him. But he could have the most beautiful matching soul with you. But do you need to fight? Do you need to kick him? Or do you need to talk to him? Oh, I like you, let's go. Because we still interact with the dimension of physicality. And when you find a matching soul, the matching in a way which can give as much as you take, then you become a twin. You find, and still you got to be humble enough to accept, I'm taking what he doesn't need, so he gives to me. So he's not higher than me, but I understand that I have a connection with it. There it comes a water, and thank you very much. So please, now that you learn about dimension of the soul, never assume anything. And always enter in a dimension of, I take what I take, I have to give, and be humble to it. Not I have, I'm a better. This is where we are in a big problem of today. We call ourselves the king of animals. Because we can kick more, we can shout more, and we made a bullet. But it doesn't, to me, a cat who comes and cuddles you and takes your heart has more weapon in it than me standing with a gun. And if we understand this, we deal a physical dimension and we deal in the dimension of the soul. The guy is ugly, that's why you don't like him. But have you tried with the knowledge you have, touching with the soul? Oh, it doesn't matter, I'll take you home blind. But you wanted to kick him. What's the need of him who wants to talk to you? Where is lacking? And this is what we have to educate ourselves with. Don't look at the physicality. Now we have two dimensions. Look at the physicality and touch the soul. And then you see if you find a match. Then you mature to the time. Otherwise, you still live in the dimension of what man has been for a time being. We have this choice. This is now the knowledge, it's a technology, it's an understanding of the work of creation. How come you use a car to get you somewhere faster than walking? But you don't accept now you have another tool. You can still work with the physicality and you have access to the energy of the soul. How this guy feels. How I feel good because he can change. In a very near future, maybe a handful of weeks, we put you as a black man in a machine and we bring you out as a white man in another. But are you happy in the skin of the white man when you know what is done to you as a black man? So don't get deceived by the shape, the color, the size of the plasma, whatever. See what it can, what you can give to it to elevate it, and then you might receive something from it. This is why the mindset comes. I told you, the way you walk from this chair to that, if I was a hunter, you've already been hunted, chewed, swallowed, and thrown away when I don't want it. You understand? So we look at the example of what we have. We look at how, I always say, they always tell me, you don't look at how these people plan things and do things. I said, I always look at their beauty. It's them who fail themselves. So I don't have to worry whatever they do. I was a very young boy in business. My father came from Iran and he came to my office and I said, Father, you can join me as a respect as a father. And then he started telling me, do you know what your staff are doing? They're stealing there, they're doing that. I said, Papa, if I spend my time worrying about the pennies, what they steal, they pay for it, they lose their job. Somewhere they steal 1 penny, they pay 10 penny. I spend that energy to develop my business further than sitting and worrying who steals what. Because I always looked, if I make 100, they steal 1%, £1 is £1 of 100. If I make 1,000,000, they still steal £1. It's nothing compared to what is expanded. Why should I spend my time on this? Actually, he went and trained a guy how to steal from me because Mehran doesn't watch this. And then he came to pay for it heavily for what he did. And I said to my dad years later, you see, he took, see what happened to him. But I didn't bother. I carried on with my work, see where I am, where he is. He wanted to teach me as an example, you don't look at those little things and you see what they do to him. I said to him, yes, he stole so much, but the time I spend money to cover him not to steal, see where I am. He said, there is nowhere an answer to you because you're always more clever. I said, I'm not clever because I plan what I do. I look at the smallest and I look at the biggest and see how it goes. And I always said to him, you know what you haven't understood? I have studied the smallest thing man has ever realized. You love me, you call me a nuclear. Do you know what nuclear is? Is watching the smallest, understanding. I said, because I understand that little one, I don't care because I know how to handle it. I deal with the other side. Never consider a plant and a tree to be in that line. Understand that you haven't understood. It's actually you who are in that line. You don't see the other side of it. Any other question? Mahnas has another question. He's too busy with this one.
Hello again. Mr. Keshe, I know that you are adept of being fed by energies, which I personally experience it. In here, I don't feel like eating anything. And secondly, I'm not a meat eater really more and more. But for the conscious, relief of conscience of those who eat meat moderately and just for their survival, I think the same pattern you said, the vegetable is ready, willing to give the soul to somebody who wants that his soul is using that, and the vegetable is okay with it. I think if there is an animal, when I have it in front of me and I wash it, I pray for it, I say thank you, I'm happy to have you, and I wish that he would have a better life. Or when I eat it, he would be satisfied that I eat that meat because I gave him something from my soul, from myself, from my heart.
I tell you something, you want to close your phone. The truth is, none of you do that. Some Christians bless the food before they eat. And 99.99999% of you don't do it. And that's why you are Jews or Muslims. And that's why you have that prayer. Yeah, that means you're that 0.0001%. But that's why in the slaughterhouses, they have this tape, they're blessing your, taking your life. Because Prophet knows you don't do it, but now it's very nice. It's automatic tape. But does it actually work on the animal? I don't know. And does it matter if you pray to it in Arabic or Hebrew or in another language when you take his life? Doesn't matter. You're just one, but we're talking about totality of us as human. And I have a beautiful, I was talking to, I think, Kaus recently. When the Iranian Revolution happened, there was a shortage of meat in Iran. So the government decided to bring meat to stop this huge problem of feeding people. And Iran is an Islamic country. Everything had to be halal. And the only thing you could make it halal, you could tell them, but everything had a stamp of halal. So they bought shiploads of meat, they brought them to Ahvaz, and as it came to them with a stamp, they made it halal. So the prayer was never said. The meat was never blessed. It just became a color of ink in the belief of the man. This is how we cheat with ourselves. This is how people play. But when I was a young boy, I used to go with my great-grandmother and my aunts. They were Jewish. So we went to a specific shop in Iran, in Tehran, to buy chicken because it had to be kosher. And I always remember this noise. It emotionally touched me for the rest of my life. Once they cut half the neck of the chicken, it's this big drum. Once they drop it in there till all its life goes out, and then they take it out. And I said, it's finished. He says, no, you have to wait. The last one hasn't come. After a few seconds, it was the last burst of energy, it was whatever the soul leaves. And he says, now it's ready to feather it. And I went out few weeks later. I was with my Muslim cousins, and they slaughtered the sheep. The same thing. They cut half of it and they let it kick everything else. And then when he stopped, they said, now the soul is gone, we blessed it. I said to my father, why do they both do the same and call themselves different? He said, do you know, Baba, just eat the meat, let them be ignorant. At the end of it, that's all it is. If you eat a kosher meat or a halal meat, it's all the same. We bless the soul. And now it's on the tape recording or the red stamps on the body. But do we bless what gives us? Every time I get knowledge seekers like you, or I teach, even on the remote telephone, I always say, I'm blessed because I get so much energy, so much knowledge comes that I can give back. It doesn't come by eating food, it comes by energy. I have a habit even when I travel from A to B in a car. I thank the car. It's habitual. I said, thanks for bringing me to where I wanted to be. It's not just because a donkey takes you, because it's a soul of collective soul. My mom used to say, you're thanking your car. I said, Mom, if I don't appreciate what I have, I will never understand. It becomes another tool. It's a blessing to, first of all, to take you from A to B, and secondly, arriving alive, all where you wanted to be. I don't get up and say, have you been on these planes, the jet plane, and they are flying, and then the Muslims get up and they bend and pray in the corridors. Nobody can go for a coffee and tea till they finish their prayer, and everybody is cursing them. These Muslims, they don't stop. But one day I said to myself, which way is this guy praying to? Because first of all, you're all above, and the plane keeps on turning, and it just came, it's a belief. He believes his soul will act. Why do we pray? We don't pray for us. We add to the soul of the Prophet because we pay attention to him, to energy to go to him. Because like what Dean said, can I connect? If man understands why you pray, you will never pray. Because in a way, you give, you go to the church and you pray or give, you add from your soul to the soul of the Christ, the soul of Muhammad. That's all you're doing, you're givers. And maybe in giving, you receive something that says, every time I go to church, I pray, something good happens. But in fact, you put that seed in, that 20% in, and maybe something comes to you. When you go and pray for your mother and father when they're dead to add to the soul, actually when you pray for them, you give to the add to the soul. Doesn't mean that if the energy was a side position of the Jupiter, you pray so much with them, they go become position of Mars, or they become a better planet in the position they are. Chinese have a beautiful ritual for death, and it makes me laugh. But you see it on the street of Beijing, you see it in some villages. They burn money to add to the soul, gives a gift to the body of man. But what is funny about it is actually paper. Any paper, red, they burn it. Has no value. They don't actually burn the money which they put effort into it to make it, even though they pay for that. And they sit and they burn money on the street, on the corners. Am I correct? To elevate? First time I couldn't understand, but now I understand a little bit of it. So, is it actually the burning? Or is it the paying attention to the soul of the dead to add to it, that point of burning, the fire, gives from us that attention to the soul of the person we're burning it for? And the same envelope, they put the money and they burn, they give it to you as a gift. Are they burning money? Are they adding to your soul when they give you this? It's very common when you are in official meetings near Chinese New Year. They come and they give you a red envelope. The first time I received it, I thought, what is it? But out of 10 people around the table, 1 or 2 gets it. And I thought, what is? I opened up this. I said to Wan Lin, I got money. What's happening? He said, this is a gift from the, what do you call it, the hired people. And I said, how come the other people around him? He said, these are allocated. They want to, it's a matter of respect. I said, but they burn the same money. He says, don't talk. Just take the money and keep quiet. How do we respect it? Where do we understand the culture? Do we give part of our souls to it? And this is what we don't understand. This is where most of our problem is. We think, we look at everything as a human level, but we don't look at it as the what do you call it, the soul, the energy field of it. Have you noticed here sometime, especially in this area, my accent changes a bit towards Cockney because this is London. They say if you can hear the bells of Bo, you're a London, true Londoner. And whenever you come here, accent change, you go to Esfahan, accent changes. Whenever I come to this part of London, I hear myself speaking a bit Cockney because I lived in this area. It just comes back to you naturally speaking because it's the soul of it. This is what I say when you go to a country, to another position, when you manifest yourself, you take all of it. This is part of it. You feel. If you go out, go towards Milan Station and go for about couple of kilometers, you see a church. A bell, sorry. And there, when it rings, it's a bell of Bo. If you heard it, you're a true Londoners come from there. And they speak with a Cockney accent. And what's his name? He speaks sometimes a little bit of it. Any other question?
Okay, we've got Mark with a hand up here as well. I'd like to get him in, and I think there might be a question from Stefania. Go ahead, Mark.
We can't hear you.
See, the microphone is open, but we don't hear any sound. Okay, I'll have to try to get...
It's just very funny. He's only 2 meters, 3 meters away from me. Do you want my phone, Mark? The thing is, there are more questions from the people inside here than from outside.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. My question is about the creation of souls in the universe. And you said this was a nursery. This planet was a nursery for souls in the universe. We know souls can also be created in the open space by different entities, citizens, creatures, living fields in that position. But that would seem to be a one-off production of souls. And it also seems to me that it's like discovering an oasis in the desert for us. We see the oasis, it brings life, and for the universe, it probably is an oasis because now the universe says, there's more souls here for creation of stars, galaxies, planets, expansion of myself. But I'm just thinking the systems you make seem to be for the improvement of the creation of the nurseries. Are there any places in the universe that have gotten it right from the get-go, let's say, where it doesn't need improving or elevation?
Do you want to switch off your mic? What's that? You got it? How's that? Your phone. Excuse me. Yes, there is only one place. And that's Creator, where he is. Got it right for all the way along. The rest is the process of development and improvement and learning and adding. The only place which is absolutely perfect is when it's within the Creator. And even him, when he lets it loose, makes mistakes and problems like humans. So the division becomes a problem, but the source is perfect.
Maybe I can't see the forest from the trees because I'm in it.
Yes. Any other question? Or shall we call it a day? Oh, we have a question here. 1 second. Azar. She needs your headphone. Just 1 second.
Okay, my question is, for some reason, I relate so much better to non-human creatures. Why is that?
Can you open up?
Bear with us. I think Mr. Keshe is making an adjustment there.
Yes. No, sorry about that. I didn't see my microphone being off. I said here every day we bring fruits and other things to enjoy physically. And today I brought some what you call dry biscuits, but from Iranian restaurants, so we can always enjoy it. And to add to the soul with the pleasure of it. You enjoy animals more because they give enough for what you need. We do that sometimes. And because they are the strength of your, what you have, what you want. Everything the same. What we want, what we expect. And it's part of us who decides in what is enough for us. The animals don't tell you they got a headache. They don't tell you their problem. They need to be fed. And they need to be changed and they need to be cleaned. You do it out of love. Yeah, not. Yeah, I think Stefania had some. Oh, leave it there. They all know how to walk to it. This smell of it, we bring them. Any other question? I got the Stefania coming back. You want to switch on your microphone? Do you want to use my phone? Yeah. Okay. While you're talking, I'll tell you, can you repeat again, please? Because I'm eating something else.
Okay. So I got two questions of two Italian seeker. So the first question is, okay. It was in English. She wrote it in English. Okay. So the process of so when we elevating, so in the process of elevating ourselves. Oh, sorry, one second. In the process of learning the ability, in the process of learning the ability of elevating ourselves to be able to choose the soul. Okay, I remember this one. So she's asking.
When you finish,
yeah,
me up.
she's asking basically. You said that now we have to learn how to elevate ourselves. Otherwise, we become dust. No. She's saying, do you have to wait for your physicality to be ready?
No.
Oh, everyone can do it?
Yeah.
Everyone can do it, huh?
Yes.
Okay. I have another question.
What's another question?
Well, did you finish this question?
Yes.
Okay. The other question is, how do you behave with the people that are about to leave their body, and they have the dry mouth, I cannot drink anymore?
I don't know what you're talking about.
She said that so how do you behave with someone It is about to leave their body, and they have dry mouth, and they cannot drink anymore.
What's got dry mouth to do with them leaving their body?
Yeah, they're dying and they cannot drink anymore.
So, what's got to do with each other? Sometimes, it's very interesting that the soul has already departed from the physicality. It doesn't all happen in the last second, which we think. And it's very strange how we see it, how we understand it. And it doesn't matter, dry mouth, twisted leg, open eyes, it's just the last part of the physicality which goes. Any other question? Do you have anything from your side? Rick?
Well, I was going to read the question from Antonella, but that was what Stefania just did. There's another question in the YouTube from David who says, if a person has two souls, does he also have two identities?
Yes. %.
And by two souls, is that meant two souls of physicality or two soul of the man in one person?
What do you mean?
Well, if the question is, if a person has two souls, does that mean two souls of physicality or two souls of the man? It's always one soul of the man.
We call it the beautiful people. Yes, this is very clear. If you ever been with these people with the two souls, what we call the beautiful people, in the English language you call them schizophrenic, it's very clear the soul of physicality has connection to that soul, and the two are not connected. I've been privileged to work around this for years, for decades. And you speak to John, he behaves with the voice of a man. And the second soul is the strength-filled soul of a woman. Now you speak to Mary. She crosses her leg, she uses the woman hand movement. And of course, otherwise it cannot be one. They have very, and always when you speak to John, you get the boy. When you speak to Mary, you get a Mary. And this is very clear. Each soul has its own soul of physicality. In a way, it masses different energy of the same structure to be. It's like what I said earlier on. You have to understand the soul of the, what you call the kidney or the heart. And for certain condition, kidney has a different field strength, different soul structure. And then when somebody else does another dimension, it comes another position. It's very clear. It's a privilege to know these people. It's a privilege to work with these people. And you understand, and they change. The shape of their face, the mouth, everything changes. Depends which one you're talking to. We make a mistake, we tell them they're sick. Actually, we are sick because we don't see they're better than us. It's how one body can manage 2 or 3 in. We can't manage one of our own. Then you understand how complicated these people are. One of my wishes is once we start developing, completing these, what we call the transmutation, we'll be able to give physicality to these people, that they actually can physically see which one comes out of the door when we open the door. Or can we put one machine and 3 systems and get 3 people coming out of the system with the same dimension of physicality? Any other question?
Okay, we had a question from Hassan in the chat earlier. It says, "Good day, Mr. Keshe and everyone present. For nearly a month, I am sleeping on my belly and inside a star formation composed of 4 bottles of Ganses, 3 on the ground and 1 on top of me. And I am more connected to my night soul travels. I easily remember 3 trips a night and I wake up after each of them. 2 questions. Does sleeping on the belly or the back have a say in the expansion of the soul? And does the control key sits only in the emotion?"
I don't think how you sleep matters much. This is the story they said to the guy, you know, when you sleep, you put your beard under the blanket or over the blanket. He says, I don't know till I try it. And then I asked him next day, he says, you put your beard under the blanket? He says, what's got to do with you? All night I've been trying to find out how I sleep. We don't know if you sleep on the belly is any different than the top. Try to sleep on your back for a month and then tell us it's any difference. This is a beautiful thing when you do in Africa. You can sleep on the ground with no problem. And then you can sleep on either way you like. I think he's still in Gambia. Try it. Let us know. Now sleep 1 month on your back and see if you still remember dreams better than when you're on your belly. You're a knowledge seeker, so tell us back in a month if it made any difference.
Mr. Keshe, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is a continuation of my question before. I make it 2 examples so it's clear. One is, we said, so, like for example, Jesus saw beautiful women and he slept with them because it brought him pleasure. He didn't say they're married. So question is, was he correct? Or, for example, you say things shows up in our life, and then if we like it, it means it wants to give us something. We shouldn't question it. We should go for it. So I see a man, I want to have sex with him. I should go and do it.
Don't mix Jesus with anybody else. He's a class of his own. We don't interfere with that part. He knew what he was doing and he knew how to get out of it. This is one of the things Jesus always did. But the rest is your decision. How you, what does it give you? What does the next step gives you?
But you know, something is about giving us pleasure. Something else is that person wants to give me the pleasure. It's two souls.
You got to ask him. This is the problem. This is always a problem. Half of the time, I think your phone is open, you have to close it. Half of the time, we assume, but we actually got it 100% wrong. And the other half, we ask the question, and they lie to you, you never know. Just to keep you happy. So, somewhere down the line, you have to assess yourself.
Mr. Keshe, you say that I like a guy and I like him.
I don't like a guy, you like a guy.
No, say I like a guy, and then I tell the guy that I like him. He tells me he doesn't like me. So it means he's lying to me? Why he wants to lie to me?
So he doesn't like you, so that's it. Take it and walk. Next one, next stop. And don't kick the next one.
I don't understand it, because you said he shows up because he wants to bring you pleasure. Because the way I feel.
Yeah, but no, the thing is, two ways to look at it. You're easy to confuse, no problem. But what I'll try, what it is what you assume. What the way you assume. It's your assumption. Does the guy like me? Or I think he likes me, or he just wants to pretend to like me. I had a beautiful experience yesterday here. I went to the building of nuclear engineering where it used to be. Now it's a cafe, graduates. And I sat to have a sandwich. Just feel the emotion. It brought back so many memories because I know the land where the classes were and whatever. And 4 youngsters came and sat next to me. And they were in 17, 18. They came to see the university if they'd like to be here next year to apply for. And I watched the behavior of the two. Both of them were, but suppose nobody to know they're together. And a guy from the school who came in, oh, you have your foursome meeting, I'm going somewhere else, I eat somewhere else. And I watched the two sitting opposite to me. One was English, blonde, blue, and one was Pakistani. And outside, they cannot be touched, Pakistani girls, you know, the restriction, everything. Here in the environment, they were sitting, they were touching and enjoying each other. And I thought, what condition us have created for our children to make them the liars and cheaters that they learn to do the rest of their life? Or do they show the real emotion and we encourage it to be there for them to enjoy life? Do they actually show, were they actually showing the true effects? And it was very beautiful watching these young lovers just even enjoying touching each other. And it was very clear, the English guy knew the limitation of whatever he was doing, but was enjoying and the girl was enjoying the presence of the guy. And the same with the other two were sitting next to me. But I turned around to them, the sister comes and says, where are you from? He says, oh, we are 6 years, we come to see the college. And it's the same process. Are those two lying to each other? Or are they have created their life to lie to their parents, but be correct with each other? Or because they lie to their parents, there's still everything else is lie between them too. When I walked into this college, to this university, the first day, it touched me for the rest of my life. The first day I arrived in this college, in the white building at the front, you go through the gate, used to be a big hall, now they put a thing is up with the black poles. And the minute you came into the hall, you turn left, and there was a desk for registration. I walked in, like everybody freshers, some people, they call them the fresh greens, is coming, walking in. And the guy was standing in front of me. I'm 180, he's 160, maybe around that height. Blonde, blue eye, so beautiful, talking. And the minute I stood behind him, he turned around and says, oh, where are you? Blah, blah, blah. Start talking to me. We realized we are both in the nuclear engineering department. So it was a first click. And this friendship of the first person I ever spoke to in the university became a lifetime friendship. The end of the 3rd year, for the last 2 terms, we shared apartment together. We lived in the same house together, and it was a beautiful friendship. I never knew till the guy spoke. I'd never seen a white South African. To me, Africans were all black, just a white blonde. I said, the life story of him was, he was found making love to a black African, and the girl was put into prison, and the parents put him in the back of the car, drove as fast as they could to Botswana, got rid of him on the border. They got him on a plane, came to England to save his life because of the apartheid. Of what they did to him, he went directly, within the first couple of months here, went out with the darkest skinned woman I've ever known in my life. You couldn't get any darker. And the friendship between them was a true love. 50 years later, they're still married. The same woman, the same girl we got to know here together. And he said, I cannot lie to myself. I had I went with him outside. If you've been to Trafalgar Square, there's a South African embassy on the corner of Trafalgar. I went so many times with him. Oh, free Mandela. I was a hippie, so everything we went to march for. And a year before, I even cared about who Mandela was. I never knew about the South Africa and the rest of it. But it made sense. He said, I cannot lie to myself because they kicked me out of my country to don't enjoy what I enjoy. And the parents encouraged him. They took they have one son together. It's a gorgeous guy. And when we split, he went to Denmark. He became one of the heads of the Denmark's nuclear industry. But he always said to me, Mehran, do you know, if I lie to myself, then I have to live with it. I don't like white skin because they've done so much wrong to these people. And I enjoy. And he explained all the time. We had discussions sitting around the table. I lived with this guy more or less for 3 years in different shapes of forms. And it brought me back. You cannot lie to yourself. And he was very straightforward. He's a Jewish guy from South Africa, and he had every wealth in South Africa to be there. He escaped. He had to come here and go through this, become a nuclear, and change his life. But he said, I cannot stand the touch of a white skin. I said, why do you have this problem? He said, I don't know, because I don't like what we done to them. And the girl he went with, she was the only thing white in her was her teeth. And we shared an apartment together, 2 bedrooms with a hall I was explaining to. And many nights I said, Monica, I'm going to kill you. You go into the dark in the corridor, and the only thing you see, she only opens her mouth. I said, you sit there to frighten me, and says, David, I've done it again. I said, but she was so beautiful. The color of the skin, the joy they gave each other. They're still married 50 years later. They met in this college.
Mr. Keshe, which part of my question you think was assumption? Because I didn't assume.
You assume the guy doesn't like
you.
You assume you don't like the guy.
No. I said if I like the guy. So you're saying tell the guy if you like the guy, yes? And then if
but you don't know if the guy is married or not. He likes blonde.
No, if you said assumption is not an assumption. But the guy says I don't like you, so there's no assumption.
That's it, because you're not blonde and blue eyes.
So that's what I'm saying. It wasn't an assumption.
You know, we have a big problem in most of the men mentality. And I've seen this many times in my education time and my lifetime. We like to be with a blonde, blue eyes. Maybe we had a taste of one somewhere. And we go out with the black hair, black eyes, brown eyes. And we try to change her to be what we like to be. And it doesn't work. And we have the reverse, like, unless like this guy accept, this is what I like, this is what I get. If you like a blonde, why do you go out with the black hair? And you try to get, can you change your color of your hair? Next time, there's an operation to change the color of your eye, you can buy. So if you want to be with the blonde, go out with it. Why do you want me to change? And they compromise somewhere. They get married, and the women never forget. It's not in their nature. They say God is forgiving. Have you ever seen a woman to forgive? No way. So God cannot be a woman. He's definitely a man. For that reason, now, he says, oh, you still love the blonde. You're just with me because you couldn't get a blonde. And he always says that, because the first thing, oh, I haven't thought I would like to. I've seen this here in this university with a few of my friends, and I've seen it in the outside life. So he doesn't like you because he's a blonde. You like him, doesn't mean he's got to like you. Next time, hit his soul and see if that soul is, he can work on it, expand it. He'll love you more than the blood. This environment, this university, changed a lot of things and brought me a lot of things about life. I came here 3 years ago just to walk around the university. And not the sentimentality, because of it brought so much maturity. And that maturity shaped the rest of my life in education, in research, and everything else. I learned one thing in this university: you never go to the labs, because all the lab tests are fake. And I said, I refused 3 years in this college ever to give a lab report. And lab report was part of percentage of our degree, each course. I never got it, because to me, is all was said to confirm to me the lies in physics we have to accept. And do you know who did it for me? I said, David, can you go to the lab and do the report? He used to write 2 reports for me, one for himself, and I used to hand it in. And many times the professor says, how come you 2 reports? Oh, because we did the test together. Because the structure of physics department, physics here, was to confirm the lies in the physics we have accepted, and it was against my rule. I turned up for 1 or 2 of them, and I refused. 3 years in this university, I never attended any of the labs. I did. When he was playing with a nuclear reactor, I used to wait for the buses 5 minutes late. My professor, Dr. Shoy, says, Mehran, how come you run to be here, but we can't get you into any lab? I said, because that's all lie. Here, I decide. In 3 years in this university, I went to 2, 3, and that was the first year, and I decided I'm not going to any labs. I didn't care. First year here, I realized everything they teach me is lie. Second year, I battled, and the third year, I won. And my professor, Professor Leslie, in happening right across, I says, Mehran, I'll give you 2 questions, answer the 2 questions, you get that degree, because then you're in nuclear, they listen to you. If you don't go out with it, nobody listens to you. And bless his soul, he was right. I refuse. I never, it's not being rebel, but why do you test to confirm what is already you know is wrong? And then you get ingrained, you accept it, then in the future, because you were stupid so much to accept it, now you have to defend it. That's the problem with all the PhDs and doctors here. Lies, accepting lies, adding to lies to become bigger lies, and then we accept it. Because we all lied, we keep it together. Everybody else is a lie. In the electrical, the first thing came to me, and now we understand it better, is in the electrical engineering department, the first test that we did, I said, why don't you tell people, because I came from engineering background before this, I did a lot of work in the, pre-university. I said, most of the energy comes from the null, than the phase. Why don't you tell us about that part, that we understand circulation of the current? No, you're only interested, you only have to follow what comes in. I said, what comes in, if it doesn't go out, it doesn't behave. We can't have anything from it. You don't, I said to guy, you know something? You keep your electric current system, electronics, I'm going. I don't need it. So in plasma, we say you have magnetical, gravitational. You give, you take, and the balance comes. In electrical, they don't teach us this. You plug it in, it's 2 watts, that's what you use. You can't have current flow in that system if it's not going back up. And they don't teach you. It's against the law, and they call it eddy current, and all sorts of things, but they don't teach you about it. Then you bring a balance science, and it wasn't acceptable to me. I said, you know something, I have to do electrical engineering. Okay, electronics, I get my marks in my theory, 30% of the practical, and then we found the comments. David says, Mehran, you're good in that part, I'm in this God. You teach me that part, I do. So he used to go out the labs, I was free in the afternoons, going wherever I want to know. It's what we got to accept. And it's what we have to put to accept. Do we want to accept it? I never agreed with the lies in physics, so why should I become part of the game? Any other question?
Yes, we have a hand up with Claudia here, but before we get to that, I'd like to address a question from Alfred in the chat earlier, who asks, Dear Mr. Keshe, this was when you were explaining about the body and the planets and the interactions and so on. He asks, is what you just explained on the body regarding planets in a clumsy way hidden in astrology, where a connection is often made to body and mental conditions?
What? When I say what, it means I haven't understood. Repeat again.
Okay, so is what you just explained about the body regarding planets in a clumsy way hidden in astrology, where a connection is often made to body and mental conditions? I guess he's asking, is astrology a valid way of explaining what you were explaining regarding the influences of planets on our body and so on? Is there anything behind astrology? I guess
Depends what you call. If you define astrology in the astrophysics way, understanding the interaction of the fields, maybe there is not maybe 100% there is a connection. But if you connect it to mysticism and this and that and this planet there and there, it then is the foolishness of man to accept these things. There is definitely the way Saturn sits, how we get fields from it, because we are part of the structure. We are not isolated. But then trying to connect it to other things, it's what I call playing the games the way it suits the hearer. But we have to be aware there is a direct connection. There is a direct connection between the fields of the universe and how we behave. That's for sure. Any other questions?
Okay, Claudia, would you like to go ahead?
Yes, thank you, Rick. Hello, Mr. Keshe. I'd like to know if we emit sounds like mantras, and there are different mantras that promote the balance of our magnetic and gravitational fields. But I'd like to know if there is any kind of specific mantra that you can expand the soul of the man. Thank you.
I don't understand.
Like I emit sounds like or ooh, like sounds, and these sounds equilibrate my magnetic fields and like disappear pains, and to expand our soul, it exists like a specific mantra, like sound that I can do.
I understand. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't.
Because I actually was, I have to stay in silence or I have to make sounds. That's my doubt.
It does affect. Maybe it's the same as how we change our breathing system, because a lot of people do this. Make noises and brings them different emotion. And we make different breathing and creates different emotion. The sound is part of that spectrum of magnetic fields. And it has to be, it cannot be not to. Then sound is a spectrum of magnetic fields, changes vibration in the body of the man, in the blood of the man. Of course it does. But it has to be at the frequency or at the strength of what affects your length or bandwidth. Any other question?
Yes, we have a hand up. We have a hand up with Ike here as well. Go ahead, Ike.
Good day, Mr. Keshe. We don't have enough time to get to London. Is there a way to get a link after we register?
What do you mean?
For the conference.
Yes, you go to, we put it up. You go to the store, you register for London conference, and in it you put that you want to be, you'll be there, and then you get the email back confirming you've been accepted.
I'm talking about, so, can you get a link? Because I cannot. Okay.
If you go to the store, there's a link for registering for the ambassadorial, what do you call it, meeting. Click on that one and just register. It comes to us, and then the rest is with you.
Okay, thank you.
Just go to the store and click on it and fill in the form as usual, and then you get a response back. Do not come to the conference because it's not us, it's the rule of the house where we're holding the conference. People have to be registered, known before they come in. That's a part. The conference hall is part of, actually is part of the British government structure. It is opposite to the most famous church and the Parliament of England. And they have their own rules and regulations. We have to do a lot of things. This is part of it. We have to register. Everyone walking in does not give you the entrance. We have to know that it's done. Any other question? Have we finished with the questions?
Dean has a hand up here. I think we've covered the other questions in the chats. There might be another one in the Q&A here now, actually. I see there's a couple more. But Dean, could you go ahead for... Pardon me?
Rick, have you got YouTube?
Sorry, you broke up, Mr. Keshe. Could you say that again? Dean, you might have to mute.
The problem.
Dean, could you mute so I can hear Mr. Keshe? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
I said, have you sorted out your YouTube problem?
Yes, we got that going early in the broadcast, and it appears that most of the program has been broadcast. I think everything that all your talking has been covered by YouTube, as far as I know. Mm-hmm.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, go ahead, Dean.
Thank you, Rick. Mr. Keshe, if it's okay for me to say, we received a gift of a two-dimensional plasma when we came to the this conference at the moment. Does this two-dimensional plasma become a three-dimensional plasma?
You have to close your phone. Of course. This is an artist's work and is the sign of this conference, and is just made as it is. We won't make it. There's a coaster made for this. No, there's a coaster as well. You will see it very soon. With the same design. The center of it, the sign of SSI, is made by the, what we call, the knowledge seekers of the Sharif Tehran University. The curvature, the thing has a lot of meetings done by the physicists and astrophysicists. It was done for us in 2011 by scientists at Sharif Tehran University. And somewhere the explanation of it is registered, what it means. But the rest of it is done by one of our Romanian artwork people. That's how it's been put. And it's just for this conference.
Salamia had a question in the chat earlier. Salamia had a question in the chat earlier regarding something like that. She says, I have a Romanian friend in London who has an association for culture. Could you work also with him for the exhibition in London and other cities in Europe? May I ask him to attend the conference and talk with you in London?
Oh, these things are not done by me. These things are done by the IT people and the people who do. I don't get involved in these things. It's not part of what I do. They have to get in touch with them.
Okay, good.
In the Keshe Foundation, I'm just what nowadays, what do you call it? Organizer and troubleshooter. Any other question?
I did have a question about how the from Hong Yu in the Q&A, how will the contents or news be made public at the Ambassador Conference?
We have never made it public. Sometimes we release a few pictures. Our system from Linz television station, we brought in the whole session will be recorded for Keshe Foundation, but it'll never be public. It will never go public. And we do this, the whole, you will see it on Saturday. And if you've been in Linz, we have brought some of our broadcasting systems, the whole control panel, everything else. We're recording it for ourselves, but it'll never go public. And we ask everyone not to take your pictures. If anybody takes the pictures, we ask you to leave.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We've got I know you want to wrap up here, but we have a rather sensitive question, I would say, from Utah in the Q&A, who asks, hello, Mr. Keshe. If a little boy wants to be a girl, does he have two souls inside him? And is the girl's soul stronger?
I don't know. This is something very common in the world, especially today. You have to allow what is natural to grow. I've seen a lot of parents trying to change. He's a boy, but the dress is like a girl. So what? It shows its beauty, what is there, and you're trying to force it, and then you create a lot of other things with it. But we got to accept what is in front of us, not to enforce to fit the society. When I was a young boy, first year, second year in the school, it was the biggest crime to me. It was a criminal offense. It was a job of the Satan to write with the left hand. And I'm left-handed. My parents did everything to get me to write with the right hand. Teachers did everything. They do 10 homeworks, I do 1 homework, but it has to be with the right hand. But they couldn't stop me. I learned how to write together. But at the end of it, they gave up because I'm naturally left-handed. It had no influence, but it created so much mayhem and problems for me. Trying to, I remember nights sitting and crying, I can't write. The brain wasn't working to match the pen. And then after third year or whatever, my parents gave up. but was used up 2 years of torture for what you cannot change. Always said, be proud of what you have and nourish what you have, but don't let it be feel ashamed. Because if you're born to behave like a girl, you hide it, and then you grow up, you become all sorts of things. But you don't encourage certain behaviors. Natural process we can't change. Shall we wrap it up?
How about one last quick question from Cassio from the Brazilian community.
Okay.
Is it possible to get insights from dreams? I've had 2 dreams, one of which was that I was building a simple device, a 5-meter copper bar with a GANS ball at each end, and one of the ends was buried and the 2 rotated and created an interaction of fields. And this was good for a garden I was cultivating. So is it possible to get insights from dreams?
Yes, of course. Many people do. It's not a dream. It's the soul connection to the knowledge. If you redefine a dream as the energy side of your body, the way you think you learn by going to school or developing something, you learn the same from the souls. Souls are not just there for you to talk. They bring knowledge, they bring information, you teach knowledge. And then if you appreciate this, of course, it's not a one-way traffic. I wonder, I said this many years ago, we had a Newton physically for an apple to fall on his head, and then we call it, he discovered the whatever. But how many of us got this knowledge about the gravity over centuries from interactions and watching them, but we couldn't speak about it because we can't show it with the fields. Now we can. We make a system which fields create gravity, and we can make an apple fall on anybody's head now. We don't need a tree. Any other questions? There is one question from Mahnaz here, and then we close the session. Huh? It has no battery. You just gotta wait. There's a lot of shifting and shuffling.
Can you ask me to open?
Can you open Aza's microphone, please?
Okay, go ahead, Azhar, or there you go. Or unmute there. Okay,
So
that mic's open.
I'm thinking about when Jesus, in the Last Supper, he took the bread, he shared the bread and said, you take it, that's my body, that's my flesh, that's my body. And then he took the wine and shared it and said, drink it, that's my blood. I haven't, my theory is that from his plasma, he gave to this bread, and the bread was becoming part of their body, so their soul would raise. And also from the fruit, the juice of the raisin, he blessed it with his plasma and transferred it to their body, liquid and blood. So he raised their spirit to be ready and go do things. So what's your what's this means, in fact? Thank you.
I answered this a few years ago, and we went into detail. You got to go into the teaching, because this is very, very deep understanding of symbolism, truth, and a lot of lies, and what fits. There's a lot of, what do you call it? There's a lot behind this, depends how you interpret it, and a lot of it is made up to fit certain what do you call it, objectives. But instead, if we've done nothing, a big session on it, just go on the internet, you find it on the classrooms. Thank you very much, Rick, for today. Thank you for our students here and knowledge seekers around the world. And as I said, those of you who thought London conference is out of your reach, register and do the rest of it, and you get the response back. It's in a way in response to the American administration. We can play twice. The third time we play, you won't like when we play. You will be asking for meeting for peace in a very, very direct way. Thank you very much for today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, Rick.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you once again for this 511th time Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, November 9th, 2023. Thanks, everybody, for attending today's...
Forgot one thing.
Oh, okay.
Can I just say something? Today's 9th of 11, and I wish to give a birthday wish to a boy who becomes 18 today. Happy birthday.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, so that brings to a close today's Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And again, thank you everybody for attending and being here and participating. Our next public teaching workshop is the public meeting for testimonials, which will be on November 13th, Monday, November 13th. The testimonials meeting is always the second Monday of the month, and that turns out to be November 13th, and that starts at the 8 p.m. Central European time. And that's a good opportunity for people to discuss and show their appreciation for the plasma technology. And you can give your testimonial of how the plasma technology has influenced your life and those of others. Okay, we also have the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace coming up on Tuesday of next week. That's Tuesday, the 14th of November. And that starts at the 4 p.m. Central European time. Okay, I think that's it for today. And let's see. I think that's all of our announcements for now. We'll go out with this flight enhancement spaceship unit music version. And again, thank you everybody for being here today. See you in the next time around.